Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Jaime Fuego, here.
Back with another review out of the 2019 Phoenix Film Festival and International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. And this one is called Automata.
Yes.
And it was an interesting one. So we're going to do this review like we normally do them, our overall thoughts, and we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn. And my overall thoughts were, I enjoyed about 4/5 of this movie. I liked the setup. And I even wasn't particularly upset with the controversial thing that was going on in the movie. What I got upset about was the last 20 minutes that became relatively nonsensical and didn't track as well as the previous, hour and whatever did. So
Yeah.
I liked it overall, but the end, they didn't stick the landing for me.
Yeah, it was like Lords of Salem level of wackiness at the very end.
Yeah,
Just
it
not
really
making
goes
any
off the
sense to
rails big
plot.
time, yeah.
I enjoyed most of it as well. I guess I'm kind of in a similar boat in the fact that I thought it was a unique setup. It was intriguing. It was a lower budget film. This is a low budget Scottish filmmaker named Lowry. Oh boy, I'm trying to remember his name now. In any event, written by Sarah Daly, and she actually gave a little PSA at the very beginning, which I felt honestly was completely unnecessary, and it gave some preconceptions about certain aspects of the story that we will get into. But as a whole, I enjoyed it. I thought it was ambitious, but yeah, it got a little too off the rails at the very end.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's get into the story. Why don't you do the story on this one before you go?
So the story in this one essentially is there is a stepfather and stepdaughter duo who, from the very beginning, we can tell things are just a little weird. And, maybe there's some sort of attraction or whatever. And, he is consulted to go and basically try to validate if this, life-size doll of sorts, this replica of an ancient, general or sergeant's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
which he commissioned, if it's actually real or not, if it's the real deal. And it essentially turns into him and the stepdaughter, the mother is not around anymore, moving into this home, and it turns into kind of a haunted house sort of thing as he's trying to go through all of these different stages of verifying if it's the actual replicant doll or life-size whatever thing or not. And things just get weirder and weirder between him and the stepdaughter, and they really crank up the chemistry and just this weird illicit love thing between the two of them, and yet he's also attracted to this life-size doll. And yeah, they made connections to Italian horror and to The Shining, and said they just drew from all these different influences, and I got some of those vibes throughout. The look of the film being low budget did feel to me like something I would have watched on the BBC, like the actual look of the film. But as a whole, I felt like the acting was actually really strong, especially from the stepdaughter. She was very, very good in this. And it was a unique idea. It wasn't like something I've really seen as often or before.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a unique idea, and I appreciated it for that. Now, it starts off a little shaky because it goes back to, I believe, the Revolutionary War.
I didn't even think about that part.
And it unfortunately didn't quite pull off what they were attempting to pull off, a big battle. And so it started off on real shaky ground for me, but then when they made it smaller and actually let it kind of breathe when they did it, I feel like it really picked up. I mean, this is a very old, they even say it's an old school gothic, giallo-esque kind of movie.
Yep.
And so it's very deliberate camera movements and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the story, it was weird. I don't think they were building up a romance between a stepfather and a daughter as much as that was an incidental consequence of the fact that the daughter was basically starting to be possessed by the spirit of the other woman.
That was where it got cranked up, but I just felt just weird chemistry between them from the very beginning.
Well, the problem is they're too close in age.
Yeah.
That I felt that they were a couple until they told us that they were stepfather and daughter, and I was like, oh, okay, they could have been dating and I wouldn't have noticed, and so I'm guessing that was kind of deliberate, but. When you get to the scary stuff, the interesting details of how this evil automaton, the rumor is that after this automaton was commissioned, it went kind of crazy and killed some people, and then disappeared, and basically was only just found nowadays as the movie is taking place. And so that's why the guy is called in to verify it. And supposedly there were like 3 or 4 tasks that it performed that were considered feats of whatever amazement.
It's able to move and dance and write poetry and all these different things. Like, we're talking deep programming, man.
But she moves like a clockwork doll. Like, so every movement is like this, and they do like the tick-tock to it, and when she's writing, it's like this and stuff like that.
I thought it looked really cool.
I thought so too, and many kudos to the actress for doing that.
Yeah, I guess she, Lexi something, yeah, she's worked with Lowry many times, and she's also worked with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. She's an American actress, apparently, even though this is a Scottish film. So
so
she was good.
She was really good.
Convincing.
So yeah, and then stuff kind of spins out of control, as we said earlier, stemming from that, as the automaton starts to come back and starts to it kind of is a partial haunted house movie as much as anything else.
That's where they make the Shining reference, obviously.
Yeah. And so it pulls it off again for 4/5 of the movie. Outside of the opening scene, the next 4/5 of the movie was really good, and then it just kind of flies off the rails, doing what it wants in the back 20 minutes or so.
Which is a bummer, because the book ending 10-15ish minutes and the beginning and the end, everything in the middle is very, very well done. I thought, and well acted and intriguing, especially as you delve into some of the weird kinked out backstory of this general and his relationship with his daughter and why he wanted this thing made in the first place. Like, these are more of the controversial subjects that I guess we were being warned about at the very beginning of this film. But really, we should have just been able to watch it and just make up our own minds, as opposed to, just thinking things will be offensive. So,
I agree. So, I mean, hand in hand with the presentation, the cinematography, especially in that middle section, that middle 4/5, was really great. I mean, it was very, again, slow and deliberate, and tension building. Like, this one excelled at that sort of camera work. So I was a big fan of the cinematography.
Yeah, and also just the location I thought was cool, and gothically creepy and everything, and whether it was like the exterior shots or when we were actually going down into this like basement, like dungeon type area of sorts, where this life-size replica has been left for him to do all these verifications and stuff like that. And just the lighting of some of those scenes, and even the flashback scenes, I thought the costuming was convincing and effective. It was really just the battle at the beginning that I was just kind of like, this is a little hammy and hokey. But all the scenes of drama and flashback and backstory about the creation of this replicant or whatever, I thought was well done as well.
Yeah. So, and then the effects, they were interesting. There was some gore, not much. I mean, the reveal at the end of what the clockwork, the infernal princess, as they call her, what she actually is.
That was cool.
Is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And actually
creepy.
Fans of Five Nights at Freddy's would get a big kick out of it, actually. So yeah, it was interestingly done. The movie kind of falters, unfortunately. So I can recommend it, but I would just say be ready for the issues at the beginning and at the end.
The dogs.
So I think that's going to do it, though. I mean, any thoughts on the gore for you? I just kind of skimmed over it.
Yeah, there just wasn't much. This was more so about just like creepiness and atmosphere, and also just the building, sexual tension, and just the weirdness of it. I mean, we've got some S&M stuff. I mean, it's all over the place in its kink factor. So yeah, there you go.
So yeah, why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below if this one sounds interesting to you. No idea when this one's going to be available either, but hopefully soon, so you can watch it if it sounds interesting. But yeah, that's it for now. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.